Hey guys, what's up? Today's a good day because it is a tutorial day, and I haven't done a tutorial in a while, and I've been getting some comments about could you do this and could you do that, and there's this one tutorial that I've kind of been wanting to do for a while, and so obviously by the title that's how to draw body proportions. Let's kind of already get into it and start going. When drawing body proportions, I really advise you, and again, real quick, in order to master body proportions, you really need to study the style you're trying to draw in. You can't just look at a picture and try to copy it. You need to study it. You need to look at many other drawings in that style or images. You know, if you want to draw in Dragon Ball style, which I'm assuming a lot of you who are watching would like to know how to draw in, you really need to look at many images and really study and understand what the anatomy is and how certain Dragon Ball characters are. Like, just in general, Dragon Ball characters have very small torsos. Their upper body is just much smaller, and their arms are pretty short compared to a real person, and their legs are much longer. And so that's just a quick note when trying to draw in Dragon Ball, but no matter what it is, what anime you're trying to draw, or if you're drawing real life, you really need to just study that drawing. And so now what I'm starting to do right here is loosely draw the shape of a head. So you kind of have the top part of the head, and then the jawline, and then there's the chin. And what I really highly advise you to do is sketch like this. I see a lot of people trying to draw like that, and then they go and they do everything in one line. And that's just not the way you should be starting your drawings. If you're beginning in art and you are trying to get better, you really need to practice and train yourself to draw lightly with multiple lines in sketching. See, I can squiggle all over this thing I want. And I know the general path of many lines. You want to use many lines to create the general path of one line. So that's a lot of squiggles and that's a whole lot of mess, but the general line is going this way. That's the general path. So you want that to be in your head. So you can use all these little lines to help you sketch out your drawings. Now, this is about body proportions, and I could talk about this forever. So if you would like to see more in-depth tutorials on specific things, please let me know down below so I could work on that, because I kind of want to make these videos short and I don't want to rant on too long. And it's already 3 minutes and 45 seconds, so let's just keep going with this. So when you have the head, you kind of want to generally start off there. That's the place you want to go. And then I like to start, I mean, a lot of my drawings, I don't do this just because I can already see where I'm gonna go with it, and some of the drawings I'm just looking at references, so I don't do this. But when you're creating an image in your head, and you can still do this with references, it's just I've been drawing for a long time that I don't really need to do this. I can kind of skip this stage and go to the next stage. But you want to make the torso, and that's kind of the rib cage. See, like I said, many lines to create the general path of one. Don't forget that. Keep practicing that and study the anatomy of what you're drawing. So we have our torso, and then from there we kind of want to, you know, if he's kind of buff, you know, if he's like a Dragon Ball character, he's gonna have a thicker neck. Now if he doesn't, if you don't want your character to, you're trying to make a different type of character, give them a thin neck. But again, they're going to also have a thinner torso. So let's kind of go with that. And I like to, create text message. I like to start off with the head, like I said, and then the torso, and then go to the shoulders. Okay? These are good rough starting points right here. You really want to work at your character slowly. You don't want to rush. And if you feel rushed, then walk away, come back later, and try it again. Pause, take a breather. I have a rule where I don't ever draw when I'm frustrated. If I'm getting frustrated, I tend to walk away and do something else. And so I'm constantly adding to the drawing. I'm using a darker, thicker pencil to add the darker lines. Not adding detail yet. I'm just kind of still getting the anatomy of the character down. And like I said, this is a good place to start right here. And I really encourage that you just draw this when you're practicing. People kind of want to take a huge bite, too big for them to chew. That they're like, all right, well, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to draw the head and start doing that and make them look off to the side, and then just there's the arm, and they just start going, and then there's the body, and there's the pelvis, and then they make the legs and whatnot, and they want to draw the whole body, and it's just not that time yet. You shouldn't try to draw an entire dragon if you can't draw a dragon eye. So start with the small things first. Learn how to do the small things first. That's what I really try to encourage to people who ask for help. And if I haven't told you that, then maybe it just didn't apply to you. But I really just can't stress it enough that you just start with the small things first. And, there's the tricep, the curves of the tricep. And I just think it's good to just kind of practice drawing this. Like, if you're drawing a Dragon Ball Z character, I don't think it's necessary to draw a full body. Just draw the face, just draw the head, just draw literally the bust right there. That's all you need to draw. And you can see how, like, I started with just squiggles, and I'm starting to form an actual person. And I'm being very fluid and very loose and free. Like, you don't want to... I see some people do this. They draw that, and then they go a line, and then they draw a box, and then they draw circles. They go across and down. It's just way too stiff. And then they do that, and they try to add, and then it's harder because it's just too stiff. You want to be... I'm going to put an X over that, so it's a reminder. Don't do that. But hey, if you like doing that and it works for you, then then go ahead and do it. But if you're trying to figure out, if you're in a spot where you're like, I don't know where I should be, try this way. And I also encourage you to not just watch one tutorial. Like, you know, I have this tutorial, I'm going to be doing more, but you should also watch other artists and how they draw body proportions and things in that nature to see kind of how they do it. There's many ways to do it. You can, what I like to do is, if I'm drawing a character, let's go here, and I want them to be in a more dynamic pose, and you want their hand to be out in front, right? Normally what I see people do is they draw the neck, okay, and then they go to the chest, and then they draw the shoulder, and then they draw the bicep, and then they start drawing, let me just move this real quick. And then all of a sudden, the hand's way out here. And then they're like, whoa, that's definitely not what I wanted to do. In situations like these, which will go to my Hit versus Vegeta drawing, and I'll talk about that there, it's good to draw the hand where you want it. So if you want the hand right in front of his face, draw the hand right there. Draw the circle, and then draw the shoulder, because here's the neck. Draw the shoulder, and then connect it like that. Just use a fluid line like that, and you're like, okay, well then the elbow is going to be right there. And then the bicep's going to be flexed. And you have, you know, the tricep over here, you have the shoulder up here, and then you have the forearm right here, and then the wrist. Gets narrow at the wrist. Elbow here. And just by doing that, just by placing the hand there, and if he's punching, right, if the hand's way out here, and here's the shoulder, right, make the line. There's the elbow, biceps extended, triceps extended. Well, that's a little too close, so just for speed, let's just move this. So that's what I encourage you to do when you're trying to place dynamic poses, is draw the hands where you want them to be, and then go ahead and use these lines and connect them. That's a good tip for drawing hands and where you want them to be, and instead of starting here from the head and starting to draw the neck, and then you're drawing the shoulder, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna draw the tricep now, and then the bicep, and then it's just too much. Just go to the hand, draw where the hand is supposed to be, make the hand come to you. And when I mean to you, I mean by like the main point where the head is. Make the hand all, because pretty much everything kind of connects to the head. That's usually the main focal point. But yeah, and then once you have a drawing like this sketch over here, you know, you make a layer, turn the opacity down, go above it, and then you can start adding the detail or just kind of redrawing it. You know, it's like it gives you more practice to redraw it. And again, I'm still using, even though I'm going over it, I'm still going to use a bunch of lines. Maybe I'm going to use less lines, but I'm still going to use lines. I don't need to draw that line because I use that to get to these lines that I'm drawing right now. And so you can add a little bit more detail, but you still want to be sketching. And only when you're going to ink, that is when you do one line. And I can't stress that enough, because I always see people trying to draw one line with a pencil, and it's not going to work. You need to sketch multiple lines to help you. You know, if you want to add some hair to this character or whatever. and start adding the shape of the ears. And there's the nose. And then the eyebrows. And that's just kind of how you go, and then you just kind of go over it and go over it and go over it, and you just keep working at it. And that's kind of my 15-minute, and I wish it was shorter, but tip on kind of how to draw body proportions and sketching out what you should do. And real quick, we're going to jump into Vegeta vs. Hit, and I'm going to kind of do a little voiceover on that one. Okay, so here I'm starting out with the head, just a rough general sketch of the head. Again, multiple lines to form the general path. And then I'm placing the hand where I want it. And then I'm using that swoosh, that single line, to bring it over to the shoulder and then connecting it together with the bicep and the forearm. And I put the other arm where it should be, or the hand, excuse me, draw the line, and then start forming kind of where the thumb would be, and draw the wrist. And now here I'm starting to sketch Hit. And so I place where the hands are going to be, just generally drawing the shape of the fingers. Not getting into too much detail here because we're going to go over that. And there, see again, I use that single quick swoosh to determine how the arm's going to be. And then I quickly sketch the head, make a small adjustment, quickly rough out the shoulder, and then I start adding and connecting that hand to his arm. And now here I'm starting to form out the facial features, his nose, his eyes, eyebrows, and mouth. And again, I'm not being too exact. I'm still using many lines to form out the general path. Or I'm sharpening the lines, the round lines, with more defined lines, but I'm still, again, like I said, just being loose, fluid, and not really being too stiff about it. And then that's where I drop the opacity of the current layer and go over it and start adding more detail. And this is just kind of how I do these things, and I suggest you do it this way as well. You can do this on hand paper. I could make a tutorial on that as well if you would like to see it on paper. It's just basically you need to be very light when you're drawing with a pencil, and so you can erase the lines and they don't show up on the paper after they've been erased, and you can ink. So that's basically it for my tutorial for body proportions. If you would like to see more on body proportions, just please let me know and specify what you'd like to see. If there are other tutorials that you'd like to see, maybe how to draw a specific Dragon Ball character, or just in general how to draw Dragon Ball characters, because like I said, they are different than humans, and the general body proportion. Any other tutorial, go ahead, leave a comment down below. I really appreciate it, and stay tuned for next tutorial, which is going to be how to draw Ultra Instinct Aura. So if you didn't check out the video of my Goku Ultra Instinct vs. Jiren, please go check that out. I will show you how I drew that aura. Leave a like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe if you are new for weekly drawings. And stay tuned for my next drawing. I think you guys are going to really like it. It's not a Dragon Ball drawing. It's more of a realistic drawing. It's probably my hardest drawing I've done yet, and I'm still not done. I'm excited to get this one out for you guys. But until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.